Hello, welcome Magic lovers. This is part 2 of a two-part series on Ghave, Guru of Spores. Originally started with a 14th place Commander Challenge deck list, and the deck tech for that is in part 1. The link to that will be in the description. And I tried out that deck for a couple of games, and I found that the mana base was a little awkward, and there were some missed opportunities, and not enough removal. So I've tweaked the deck quite a bit, and now in part 2, I actually continue to tweak the deck. So let's see how that goes. Alright, got another game. I am on the play. And this hand looks pretty good. We got Deathrite Shaman and a fetch land, which I do need to play the fetch land turn 1 in order to play either of these creatures. We are playing against Kiki-Jiki. Let's go Bayou, probably. What? I'm very confused by that. I should have made it bigger, like I usually do, but... Oh, I can't hit Bayou. That was a swing and a big miss. Alright, well, we still want the Deathrite Shaman in play. Alright, opponent has a Prismatic Lens, so they're ramping. I need to try and find some removal. So green, 2 creatures, still only gets me 3 mana, so I might as well play this and play the Jit and swing. I want to save this mana. Alright, there's an off chance I can get Ghave and swing with the Jit. I don't see that quite working. I kind of want to swing with the Jit though, just to deal with Kiki-Jiki before it gets out of control. Greater Gargadon. Flame Slash, the Deathrite Shaman. Well, it's going to be hard to deal with a 5/5, I think. So let's just cast that and say go. I got this combo again, but I definitely want to get some counters on this Jit. Alright, there's Kiki-Jiki. Alright, so I guess we play Stoneforge Mystic. Or do we just tutor for removal? I don't have much mana to play the removal. So what if we black? As long as we don't use all of our black, that's fine. And then let's Demonic Tutor. I just want the safety button of a Swords to Plowshares. Alright, I don't think we let him untap with this thing. They probably should have sacked it to the Greater Gargadon, but... Alright, Giant enters the battlefield, gain control. Untap, it gains haste. Okay. Do you want to split it up just to get less life, or... Nah. I'll take 5 damage for myself. Still puts 2 Jit counters on. Oh, I see. Yeah, I missed that one. Alright, let's draw a land. Let's draw a Green Sun Zenith for... What do we get? I really just want to land. It's Green Sun Zenith for a Wood Elves. It's a little lackluster, but it's Wood Elves. It does move, advances 2 mana. Alright, let's grab the actual Bayou. And say go. Yeah, let's say go. I don't want to equip the Jet. Tapping down my mana. They're pretty clearly going to Kiki-Jiki and try and copy this thing. Let's Swords it. Alright, and then let's equip here. So if I Stoneforge Mystic, I get 3 mana. And then it's not quite enough. Alright, let's kill Kiki-Jiki again. Play this thing. Play this thing. Let's play this thing. This turns Ghave into a 10/10, which actually beats a Greater Gargadon. Opponent might have an answer, another threaten effect or something like that. Alright, they're cycling. They actually only have 2 cards in hand. Alright, they say go. Alright. Let's play this before attacks. Just in case something goes wrong there. Make a 10/10. And leave the Llanowar Elves back. Learn a lesson from last time. Need those things for mana. This Jit is pretty good against Kiki-Jiki. Alright. Greater Gargadon on 4. And opponent packs it in. Jit plus 10/10 Ghave. And that's pretty good. This one seems better than Hardened Scales. Just because of the how it makes Ghave. And it's a 4/4 in its own right. The Hardened Scales didn't work too well for me. Alright, so the Hardened Scales didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. And it takes 2 mana to take off a token and then sacrifice it and put it back on in order to get that ability to work. So there's a couple routes I can take. One is to cut that and maybe a couple other small things and then just tweak the deck a little bit more. The other is to just go all in on a +1/+1 counter theme and make the Hardened Scales good and make everything else work together. And normally I would go the other way, but I think here actually we have an opportunity to, 1, make a really cool deck, and to 2, like have some, like this deck almost seems like it's not very synergistic. There's like a few things that there's like Birthing Pod combos, and there's, you know, other Revelar combos, and then there's the token stuff. It's just not fusing together well. And I think I want to try and go all in on tokens and see if we can make that work. Because I think that would be a fun deck. And I think it makes things quite a bit cheaper. And I think we could have some good working synergies. So I'm going to make a copy of this deck. Alright. And in case we want to branch the other way, in case this doesn't work. And then I'm going to go through and remove cards like Fauna Shaman, even Demonic Tutor. Like, I'm just going to have a bunch of good cards. I don't really want tutors. I just want to have like a critical mass of cards that worked out good together. I don't really want to waste my time on tutor. I probably don't want Toxic Deluge anymore. I'm hoping I'm the go wide strategy, and then if my opponents go wider than me, then I'm just gonna have to deal with that. I'm gonna keep most of the rest of the removal because removal is good. But I probably don't want like Recurring Nightmare and a couple other things like that. I don't think I really want the Stoneforge Mystic package. I'll review that, and then I probably don't want quite a bit of this top end. I'm not even sure I want Green Sun Zenith. Let me go through, and I'll see what I can come up with for cards that I can bring in. What I'm looking for are cards that are good on their own. So the +1/+1 theme ran a little bit more shallow than I would have hoped. Most of the really good ones I had already added to my deck. There's a decent number that's still here, but I don't know. Some of these might not be as good. I'm not sure. You know, we'll just have to see. Maybe with a critical mass, some of these things like Drana, which normally can be hard to get damage in, maybe then she can get damage in because opponents removing other things or stuff like that. You know, Mana Gorger Hydra, same problem. It's weak to removal, but if it's not removed, it's very good. So enough of those, and maybe we can get there. So it's the cheaper things. It's the cheaper creatures though that really didn't pay off. Like there just weren't that many of them. So I'm gonna have to go through all this and see how many cards this is. I think I want to try all these cards, even if some of them might not be that good. And then I'll see what I can remove on the other side. All right, it was actually pretty easy to find 24 cards. That's how many is on the other side. To cut, I'm actually over by 3, so I get to keep 3 of these cards. I'm still heavy on the 3 drops. I got no 1 drops coming in, and only a couple of 2 drops. So I probably don't want to have any of these 3 drops come back in. Sakura Tribelder is probably all right. It sacrifices, so you know, I mean, it's all right. Maybe I can Birthing Pond just as a value Birthing Pond. That's a maybe. I think Green Sun Zenith can get me a number of pretty cool things. So it's probably worth keeping in. I think instead of bringing in another one of those spells, I mean, the only ones that are interesting are like Sun Titan or Primeval Titan. I just don't think they synergize too well. And the Birthing Pod doesn't synergize too well with what we're trying to do either. I think I'm just going to bring in another card. I think it's going to be Unruly Mob, just because it's cheap. It's only a 1/1, but there's a lot of ways we can actually trigger this ourselves without my opponent relying on my opponent's removal to do it for me. So I'm going to try that. Like I said, the well's running pretty dry on +1/+1. There's just too much that's conditional, like, you know, based on a creature type like human. There's other ones that are warrior or on life gain, and they just rely on other synergies than what we're trying to do. I don't know if Unruly Mob is really the card that we want, but there aren't much, especially in the cheaper cards, which is what we really want. There's not much going on there. Alright, so I'm just going to straight cut these 25 cards and bring in these 25. And 1 land. Oh, we're still short cards. Well, shoot. Alright, well, I'm going to have to figure out something to fill those slots. Let's sort by converted mana cost. And, so 2 and 4 are where I want to look for things. So I need 2 more cards to bring in. Alright, instead of just worrying about +1/+1 counters or anything like that, I'm just going to worry about getting lands into play. And I'm going to play Nature's Lore and 3 visits. I don't really want to play 3 drops that generate lands. I'd love if I had one drops, but either I need to attach them to a land, like Utopia Sprawl, which we're not going to have a lot of basics, so it makes us pretty weak to Wasteland. I don't know, Utopia Sprawl might be playable. Wild Growth probably less so because it only generates green. Um, and I don't want to have more creatures. Then there's already a few in here. We kept the Deathrite, we kept the Llanowar Elves, we kept the Birds Apart Paradise, we kept the Avacyn Pilgrim. I don't want to make us more vulnerable to wrath effects than we need to be. So these are going to have to be okay. All right, and then we got to fix this land problem. And I'm going to start from scratch. And I'm going to go over how I normally set up lands for a commander deck. So the first thing I do, well, let's remove all these cards. All right, so the first thing I do is I sort by color, and I look at my color split. We've got a lot of green going on. There's a lot of double mana symbols. Most of our black, there's only one double mana symbol, and then there's a bunch that are in our gold colors. So, and then there's some double mana symbols in our white as well. So, need to go really heavy into the green, and not so heavy into the other things, but decent amount into white as well. And then I just take everything and put it into one pile to get it out of the way. Because I like to stack up my lands so that I can see that I've got everything of every type. So we'll just take lands, and then, so you take your true duels, and there's their fast lands, and pain lands, pain land, fast land, filter lands, flagstones is a maybe. Probably don't need it. That's a utility land. And then we have Ravnica duels and check lands. Let's make them another pile. Not gonna play the flagstones. Pain land. So we got all three pain lands, and then fetch land. There's gonna be 9 fetch lands in a three mana deck, 3-color deck. You can play 9 fetch lands. There's just one, which would be blue-red that we can't play. Ravnica duel. All right, let me run through and I'll assemble these piles. All right, so stacking it this way helps me make sure that I haven't forgotten anything. So now that I have 3 of all of these ones, and then 9 of these, pretty much always Ravnica duels and pure duels go in pretty much every deck. Check lands go in most decks as well, and then the 9 here. So that's 18 of our lands. I don't think I'm going to play filter lands. I don't think I need to. We saw what our mana requirements look like. It's mostly green. There's a couple dual whites. I want green on turn 1 most of the time. So these aren't really going to get me there. And then I probably don't need Concealed Courtyard either. And I might not need Caves of Kollros. I think I'm going to do it that way because I want to hit green on turn 1 as often as possible. All right, so those are the lands I'm playing, and then you go through the color independent and look for other things that you might have missed. You want a Cavern of Souls, for example, maybe. Do you want to play City of Brass? Do you want to play Mana Confluence? Probably don't need to in this deck. I think our mana is going to be all right, but it's a possibility. Pretty much always play Command Tower, unless you're in a 1-color deck, really, or there's a specific reason why you don't want to play many non-basics. And Reflecting Pool goes in most decks as well. And then what you want to do is go through and look for utility lands. We've already found one in Gabney Township that we definitely want. Do I want to play Blighted Fin? Probably not. I've got a lot of I've got a lot of mana requirements in my deck, so a colorless land needs to do something very specific, and requiring black on top of that, not really what I want out of the deck. We got enough removal. This isn't specific enough. We're gonna be hitting it late. There's a lot of reasons to not play this. Do I want Cabal Coffers and Urborg? Almost certainly not in this kind of a deck. Do I want Dryad Arbor? Did we leave in Green Sun Zenith? We did. That gives me a 1-mana ramp spell. I think I want Dryad Arbor. So we'll put it there. I don't think I want these. I don't know if I want... There's so many different creature types. It does usually go in most decks. I'll probably throw it in because it even if you don't have a lot of creature types, it's still generally fine. Do I want anything else? One thing I thought about was Llanowar Reborn. I probably don't actually want to play that. Oran Reef. I thought about it. Probably not. I think we're fine without that kind of effect. Vidu-Ghazi, probably not. Westvale Abbey. Probably, actually. That actually seems pretty good. And then there was the Yavimaya Hollow, which I don't think we need anymore. When we were running Primeval Titan, it seems stupid not to have Yavimaya Hollow in the deck because you can go and fetch it so easily. And it's one of the best things that you can go and fetch. But we don't have it any longer, so I don't think I need Yavimaya Hollow. And then run through your colorless ones as well. Is there anything else that you need? Do we want to run Ancient Tomb? Do we want to run Temple of the False Gods? I don't know. We got some pretty heavy mana requirements. I'm gonna try the deck without them. Do we want to run Wasteland? I think most decks do. Just to kill an Urborg or something like that, or Cabal Coffers really is what you want to kill, not Urborg. But sometimes you just need to do that, and Wasteland's a pretty important card, even if it is 1 mana, or if it costs you a colorless land. We can consider we got 39 lands in one spell, and that spell destroys a land for a mana drop. So I think that's still fine. Alright, so, we could play temples. I don't think we play temples. We could play cycling lands. I'm not a huge fan of them unless there's a payoff like Life of the Loam or something like that. And even then, I'm not super high on... It's just such a dirtily combo. It's so slow. It can work in some games, and it looks really good when it does work, but all the times that you're forced to play a tapped land when you wish you didn't have to... you gotta balance those kind of things. So maybe I play filter land. I think we're fine. And the other, do you play man lands? I don't think we do in this deck. Although we're pretty vulnerable to Wrath, and we've got like a bunch of Ajani's that don't do anything if there's not a creature in play. So that might actually be a reason to play a couple of man lands. Specifically green base one, maybe Hissing Quagmire, maybe Stirring Wildwood's probably the best one. Or, what's the Treetop Village? I could see, how many tap lands we have? We have Dryad Arbor, which is technically a tap land. I think none of these are tapped lands at all, except for fast lands, but they're not tapped on turn 1. And we only have 3 single white ones. Yeah, I think we could actually afford to play Stirring Wildwood and maybe Treetop Village. I think there's a good reason to do something like that. And then so we got 32 lands, and that leaves us with 8 basics, which is actually a little higher than I might like. I might It just doesn't feel right. But I looked it over and I think it is right. So we want to lean mostly into just basic forest here. So we probably want 5 of those or 4 of those. And then where's our, like, 1 swamp, 2 plains, 3 plains? And then 1 other land. Sort by color again. Yeah, I think it's probably a plains. Alright, so that's a deck. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Let's find out. Alright, got a game. This is game 2 of a match in which I got mana screwed. Alright, this looks fine. I had 2 lands, Sakura Tribe Elder, and then I never drew another land, and then my opponent got Rishadan Ports, and I was shut out of the game. I was playing against Kefnet. Sin Collector is somehow still in my deck. That is an oversight. Garruk is not. Garruk's just too good to cut. But Sin Collector is going to be kind of good right here. Especially since my opponent wants to stay at 7 cards and we got to drop him down 1. That helps quite a bit. Alright, drew a Llanowar House. Can probably play that next turn. I think I want a Sin Collector. Look at their hand, see what they're dealing with. It's got to be white, so I think I want green-white. Although I got this coming, let's go Scrubland. It's a little bit riskier, but I think it's fine. Alright, opponent's hand is Turnabout, Opt, and Echoing Truth, Rishadan Port, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Let's take Turnabout. Nothing good has ever happened as a result of somebody casting Turnabout. It's exiled as well. Ooh, Garruk untaps Breya's Cradle. Although Rishadan Port, less fun. But we still get there pretty hard. And Garruk keeps untapping even after they use... This is a pretty big game. Gaze Cradle, Command Tower. Like, I can't cast Anafenza. Do I wait? Do I just cast Anafenza instead? It seems pretty good. Let's cast Anafenza. Alright, opponent cast Kefnet. Gonna be hard to deal with. Because they can attack straight into Garruk here. Llanowar Elves is free. Alright, that goes on the Birds of Paradise. Which is unfortunate because I might want to chump. Oh, at least Toughness. Let's put it on this thing then. And then... I think we go for green-white this time. So white, black, plenty of green. Cast this guy. Let's bolster. This thing. Let's untap this and this. And play Shalai. And then we're 1 mana short of pumping with Shalai. Alright, that one goes on the bird. So I guess we'll split these up. Let's take a counter off of this. Oops. Let's pay 1. Take a counter off of this. Make a token. Pay 1. Take a counter off of this. Make a token. Pay 1. Take a counter off of this. Make a token. And attack with these 2 things, but not the Birds of Paradise. We do know my opponent has Jace, so if they want a Jace, bounce my Birds of Paradise, they can get in and kill Garruk. But we're putting a +1/+1 counter on each of our creatures. So they kind of need to bounce. Actually, no, they can't. It has hexproof, they have to bounce this. So that makes things a little trouble. And if they play Jace, they can't attack with Kefnet. Although they can Jace and Brainstorm, but they can't Jace and bounce Shalai. And also Jace dies. Like a million different ways. Alright, opponent attacks me with the 5/5? Alright, no reason to block that then. Not when Shalai will be big enough to block it next turn. Alright, opponent just passing the turn. They can Rishadan Port my land, my Gaia's Cradle, which I'm pretty sure they're going to do. It's going to limit my mana a little bit. It actually cuts it about in half. Alright, they let me untap my mana. Okay. So let's just attack for 1 less, but or 2 less. But these are free. I don't know, I feel like my opponent has a trick. What did we saw their hand. They have Jace. We haven't seen Opt yet. Oh, they have Echoing Truth. Alright, should have considered that before doing this, but let's tap that for 11 mana. Oh. They can only Echoing Truth Shalai? I think they might just be dead. Which means I didn't need to create these Saproling tokens. I would have been better off with a 2 power over here, but I forgot. I had been pumping up this Garruk Wild Speaker. Alright, let's put counters on everything. I don't know, what could they have? Aetherize? That targets me, doesn't it? Is it all, just all creatures? That would be pretty bad. Let's attack with this. Attack with this. These guys. Is that enough to kill them? 6, 18. If they bounce one thing. Attack with a bird. Alright. We'll go that. Just in case they have Aetherize. Yeah, I mean, this is a match. They said want to play again. Alright, they have Echoing Truth for Shalai. We knew about that. Alright. Alright, got the second game, or third game in that match. We will keep this. This looks great. Deck worked really well last time. I was really happy with it. Alright, there's that thing again. Shalai was the real all-star, but Gaia's Cradle was pretty awesome. Garruk was awesome, and we actually cast our commander and used the ability for useful things. Maybe it was a little bit overkill near the end, but, you know, splitting up all the counters using my mana that way. That worked pretty well. Is there anything I can... There's nothing for mana. And we can't Drana. Maybe just because of the double black requirement, that doesn't go in the deck. It might be very possible. Sad to be missing a 4-drop, but we'll play Llanowar Elves and just say go. I might just play this Colonial Hydra. Alright, opponent plays Kefnet. It looks like their strategy is to just keep 7 cards in their hand and attack with a 5/5 for 6 turns. It's a decent enough strategy. We got a Mistcutter Hydra too. This is on each creature you control. Alright, so we're definitely playing that. I definitely need black here. Let's go white-black. Let's go Scrubland. Alright, opponent attack win the 5/5. The bright thing is if we force them to deal with our permanents, then they can't really attack or block with Kefnet because they won't be at 7 cards anymore. Unless they don't play lands. Like if they do anything, then they won't be at 7 cards next turn. I guess they could draw and then return a land. Or just draw, yeah, but then they're not using their mana. Alright, so let's play a Verdurous Gearhulk. Or I could play my commander and double the number of counters than that. I want to... Alright, opponent into the Roiling. That's too bad. They actually drew a card, yeah, so that... Alright, let's just... No. Let's put 1 on that thing. I guess they only have an attack with this for 5 turns. I do have a couple ways of dealing with it. As well as a number of good permanents in play already. Or I could just chump block it with Drana at some point. This is a funny strategy. I wonder how often it actually works. It seems like you don't get to really deal with what your opponent's doing, though. Unless you're also drawing a card off of it. Soul Ring. Take another turn. Oh, okay. This could be bad. Alright, they're doing that. Okay. At least we don't have to worry about them taking another turn. Alright, I drew a Skull Clamp. A little worried about dying here. Like, I really want to play my commander. Let's play Drana. And a piddly little Mistcutter Hydra. Remand. Alright. Well, I might be dead. It's not very big. It's actually not enough of a clock either. Maybe I should have just done that. And then just clock them for 2 turns. And hope they didn't have a temporal manipulation. I wanted to be able to block. Alright, just getting beat down by a 5/5 for 3. Dead next turn. Alright. Interesting game. Alright, got another game. I'm on the play. And... yeah. I need a green mana, don't I? Playing against Ulamog. Like, if I don't draw a green mana... Well, yeah, Nissa and Skull Clamp. That's pretty dirtily. Let's try it. Could draw anything else that we could play. Why didn't I play the Skull Clamp? Hopefully that one doesn't bite me. Watch, I'll draw a 2-drop and a green land and never be able to play the Skull Clamp. Alright, well, we can play the Priest or our Commander next turn, but nothing to play this turn. Probably our Commander next turn. The Priest doesn't do that much on its own. Well, this thing has flying, doesn't it? Opponent has a Cold Steel Heart. Alright, we just need to be faster than this deck. Ulamog's quite good. Alright, there's a tapped land. We can deal with that next turn. This turn we want to play our commander. Alright, opponent has a treasure map. It's not a mana rock. I was worried about a big mana rock. And a Wayfarer's Bubble, which costs 2 more mana. So, not super fast yet. Could change in a moment's notice. I mean, we got a mana crypt, so I guess I can't complain too much. Alright, Council's Judgment. So let's play this way too expensive 2/2. Treetop Village. Swing for 5. Opponent treasure mapping. Notably also, if they want to crack the Wayfarer's Bauble, they need to tap 2 lands, which only leaves them with 3. But I probably want to start splitting this fairly soon in order to avoid the Ulamog hitting that one creature when it does come down. I assume it's going to come down before we kill them. I don't think we're quite fast enough. Yeah, Worn Power Stone. Stuff like that is a good reason. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They could technically have it next turn if they have an Ancient Tomb. And they might have, if they had one, they'd probably hold it. Alright. Land's actually pretty good here. Alright, so if I play Garruk, untap 2 lands, play Nissa, then we have 2, we can spread 2 of these tokens. But they also have 2 planeswalkers that they need to hit. Or I can play just Nissa and spread 4 of the tokens. There's also a wonder, yeah, I'm going to tick up Nissa this turn. So let's attack. I'm definitely playing Nissa this turn. Oh. Oops. Any permanent. I thought it was just creature. Any permanent. I missed 2 damage there. That's a darn shame. So let's get a Bayou. Let's play Garruk. Let's tick up Garruk. And play Nissa. It also means I probably should have cracked the Misty after making a 0/1. Alright. We're fairly Ulamog proof here. It still hurts. Ulamog's pretty much always going to hurt. Alright, they're treasure mapping instead of Wayfarer's Bobbling. So that's a bit strange. That means I don't think they can play Ulamog this turn. They might have some other big threat. Alright, there's an Ancient Tomb. I'm not sure. Oh, they can use the tokens. Okay. That makes sense. Alright, they got Ulamog. Now you got to do some threat assessment. Alright, they're hitting Garruk and my commander. So let's move a counter from this thing. I think not doing this is a pretty big mistake. Although hitting my Garruk restricts my mana quite a bit. Alright, Stirring Wildwood. I don't really like giving this back. Oh, they can just do it all over again. So, never mind. But I have to, don't I? Yeah, I have to. Otherwise, I can't like ever win. This costs 7 mana. I have 4. So let's play this. Let's put a +1/+1 counter on everything. Is that enough? I think that's actually enough. Nice, GG. Alright. I didn't add it all together. Math is for blockers, and they're not blocking. I just needed to do as much damage as possible. And yeah, that's actually more than enough by quite a bit. Alright, got there. Deck seems to be working alright. I mean, it's not a groundbreaking best deck ever. It's just that the synergies are working and it feels pretty good and it's a fun deck. Alright, got another game. I am on the play. I have a 1-lander. I can't Green Sun Zenith, and then Deathrite Shaman, and then we're gonna mulligan. It's a 1-lander. Alright, this is actually pretty good. We got Evolve into our commander at some point. Playing against Breya. Maybe Wasteland will help at some point. Oath of Ajani actually seems pretty good. We'll keep that. Alright, there's that turn 1 green. Sometimes you need a pain land to get it. This has got to have +1/+1 counters on it. But we do have a way of doing that. Do need to worry about wraths and stuff like that. Nope, not that. There we go. This pumps up Experiment 1. The Oath of Ajani advances our mana and allows us to Wasteland without... Well, Wasteland's not going to do anything. We don't have black mana yet. Now we do. Okay. Could have a counterspell. If they want to counter Oath of Ajani. Alright, they're tapped. Alright, that's good for 5 damage. This thing can't quite be regenerated yet. Could be a Toxic Deluge for 3 at some point. All basics. How do you hit Breya with all basics? That's amazing. I don't know what kind of consistency. They still need a red. These decks usually play a lot of mana rocks. Armory Automaton. You may attach any number of equipment to it. Alright, this is not your normal Breya card. Alright, I don't really want to draw land. Only decreases my chance by 1%, approximately. But we'll still grab an Overgrown Tomb. And tapped. There's a Dromoka's command. I don't think I really need to do that. I think I would rather play out a 5/5. That pumps up both of my things. And now we can regenerate Experiment 1. And we can move tokens around to our Gyre Sage and stuff like that. I don't know what the odds are, but there can't possibly be good odds that you consistently hit all 4 colors with Breya with only basics. It's kind of amazing, really. I mean, we're going to Dromoka's command it. There she is. Alright, they got to keep the 1/1s, but the 1/1s don't really do anything to us. And then it's 2 more turns of these kind of beatdowns, which these are big creatures that are only getting bigger. Alright, another land isn't the best thing in the world. So let's put a +1/+1 counter On this thing, target creature you control. I think we want it on the mana thing. Although it is kind of already a target. Although then we can't attack with it. Which is fine. We can actually do a bunch of token moving with it. We can spread out our tokens. Alright, opponent double chump blocking with their Thopters. Let's play the Wasteland. In case my opponent plays a non-basic to try and get up to 6 mana for Breya. Like that. Although we might just wait and just... I don't know how deep we need to go on spreading out these tokens. I guess it depends if they use removal. Alright, they have a Sanctum Gargoyle that does nothing. Well, we're going to use the land next time anyways, so... Well, that's pretty good. That's a must-answer threat. Do I want to leave this thing back just to, like, move tokens if something gets answered? I guess they could have a Wrath. They probably would have played a Wrath by now. I think I just want to get in. I don't know if it's right. Maybe we want to be a little bit more safe. Let's be a little bit more safe. Because they could also, like, move around their blocks. They could double block. And then I need to move around tokens. And I still want to cast this Colonial Hydra. Alright, so let's tap her. Let's move a +1 counter from this thing. Let's sacrifice a creature. Oops. Let's not do that again. Sacrifice a creature. Choose target creature. This thing. Pay 1. Sacrifice a creature. Okay. Alright, and then let's play our land. Let's go Savannah. This kills them next turn. Double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. I guess they don't die if they can block 3 of them. Alright, Fabricate. For what? You have 1 mana left. They could possibly play another land. Destroy target non-black creature. You don't have enough mana to activate that. You got it. I think they're dead on board just from the number of tokens currently. 9. These 3 alone actually kill them already. But let's have some fun. I could make a bigger Hangerback Walker. We're not going to cheese them out that hard. That's a lot of damage. Alright, -20. Alright, got another game. I'm on the draw. I have no creatures in this hand, so it doesn't really do anything. Alright, well there's no creatures in this hand either, but we're going to keep it. We're going to put that on the bottom. At least we have a Hardened Scales. We are playing against Rafiq of the Many. Alright, so that's a very good commander. Can often just tempo your opponents out with that guy. So I don't have a 4-drop. So I'm going to play the Hardened Scales here instead of... Let's go Bayou instead of the Soul Ring. I can play the Soul Ring next turn. And probably the Stirring Wildwood. They could counter things. This deck usually plays counter spells. Usually counter spells to disrupt what your opponent is doing. To kill their creature. Alright. No counters yet. Copy Artifact. Alright, they get their own Soul Ring. Sculpting Steel. Oh my god. Alright. That's crazy. I now regret playing that Soul Ring, except I'm going to create a 6/6 Ghave here. 6/6. Alright, opponent's got a lot of mana. I don't know what all they can do with all that mana. Wall of Denial. Mimic Bat. We just gotta start splitting Ghave up, and then our creatures get pretty big. And they have 2 cards in hand. Do I just wait? Do I just split it up into a bunch of... Like, we can make some pretty big creatures here. Dromoka's Command is also an instant. Let's just make some good big creatures. What's it cost? 3 mana to turn 2 tokens into a 3/3? I think is how it works. Rafiq. Alright. Alright, let's remove a counter. Pay 1. Paying the mana for all this is kind of annoying. Then sacrifice a creature. Put 1 on this guy. Sacrifice this guy. Alright. So we got a couple of 3/3s and a 2/2. And let's just dismember this thing. And play land. And attack with all of these things. And once again, we can turn 2 counters into 3/3s again. So we're just... It's slow, but it mostly works. Alright, there's Rafiq again. Alright, there we go. So we got... Made that work out. I'm going to try this, Dromoka's Command. Put a +1 counter on this thing. Have it fight this thing. Attack with everything. Wall's going to block the 5/5 clearly. But doing a pretty good job of spreading out the damage. Killing Rafiq all over and over again. Which is what you have to do. This thing is a very threatening commander. If you let it swing at you, it usually ends you in a turn or 2. Alright. Alright, that was a match. So we are on the draw. This hand looks great. We got Pelt Collector, Knight of Autumn, Corpse Jack Menace. All just great things. Council's Judgment, also very good. Alright, opponent has Lotus Cobra, though. I don't have a way to remove it just yet, which is very unfortunate. I have a Mana Crypt. Mana Crypt, Corpse Jack Menace. That seems pretty good. So I guess if you can't remove the Lotus Cobra, you'll just make as much mana as they do. We get a 10/10 next turn. I think I want Bayou. And this should make this a 3/3. Although we might need to kill Rafiq. Alright, opponent plays 3 visits. Oh, I guess that gets them 2 more mana. Yeah, that's basically free with a Lotus Cobra out. I wonder how dangerous this Rafiq is. Can I just play a 10/10 and hopefully not die? I don't know, they might just kill the 10/10 because, I mean, it's pretty easy to pump Rafiq. Proteus Staff. Alright. That's interesting. Player puts a card until they reveal a creature card. Are they doing that to themselves? Or to me? Well, I'm playing a 10-10. I don't care what. It just doesn't feel right not to play a 10-10. Let's go Savannah. Also, I think it pumps up the Pelt Collector. Yep. Making it a 5-5. Man, this deck can dish out damage fast. Alright, I mean, if they Proteus Staff Ghave, then they Proteus Staff Ghave. We still got a bunch of tokens on the Pelt Collector. I guess we could Knight of Autumn the Proteus Staff. Confiscate. Ouch! Oh, okay, well, we can Knight of Autumn that. They get in for 2. I'm very upset about that. Alright. Oh, Walking Ballista. That stops their mana progression. We obviously need to... Like, I want to stop this thing too. But... I think we need to stop the Lotus Cobra. And then if they Proteus Staff something, oh well. Destroy target artifact enchantment. This confiscate, please. I'd like my 10-10 back. Thank you. So if I sacrifice a creature to Ghave, do I still get the thing? Oh, I guess it only has one target. So, yeah, I don't think that quite works, because it fizzles because the target goes away. Alright, Muldrifter. Full value. Alright, well, I think they're pretty dead. Yeah. I can move around so many tokens, and then they all double, and I can put a bunch on the Walking Ballista, and I can shoot down the Muldrifter, and actually they're dead to just on board, aren't they? Yeah, they're dead to just these 2 things. Yeah, I don't even need to do all that stuff. So that was quite the deck evolution. I started with this 14th place deck from a Commander Challenge, and I tested it out. It just looked cool on paper. I tested it out, and I liked almost none of what was going on with the deck. The mana was super awkward. The creatures didn't synergize too well. It was a little bit too expensive. There wasn't a strong reason to play Ghave. I don't know. So, it obviously worked for whoever. So, if you want to pick up this deck, try it out yourself. Do yourself a favor and fix the mana. There are way too many non-basics. There's temples in there that I don't think belong in a deck that, there's a lot going wrong with the mana. So do yourself a favor and fix the mana if you ever want to try this deck. I didn't like this deck, but I'll put the decks in the deck list in the description. I ended up changing up the deck quite a bit into this shell, which was combos and synergies with Ghave. And I didn't really like that one either. But I think this is a pretty good baseline if you want to cut out some of the... I mean, I guess then there's not really a strong reason for Ghave. I'm like, you can make a bunch of combos or just in a, an Abzan combo-y deck or something like that with the Birthing Pod and doing that kind of thing. I'm going to put that in the description as well because I think this is a decent shell that could go somewhere if somebody wanted to do some brewing or something like that. And then I ended up with this cool +1 token synergy deck that, I mean, it's not going to be winning any leagues or topping any Commander challenges, although both are going away. It's not the best deck ever. It's probably like tier 3 or 3.5, but it's a lot of fun and it's got some cool synergies. And it can deal out damage really, really quickly. Now, I might cut the Drana and the Sin Collector if you wanted to use this deck moving forward. I'm not sure what you put in that place. I say test out a few things. There's probably some other cards that don't work very well. Test those out. See if there's something else that you might want to put in. If you want to play this deck, I think this is a really cool shell. Um, maybe could have gone in a more serious line, and I was thinking of it, but I decided, yeah, I want to go all in on plus one tokens. And man, it actually paid off. I mean, again, not the best deck ever, but so much fun. So much fun. It dished out damage like really, really fast. So that was really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I don't usually spend so much time on deck building and stuff like that. I hope you guys didn't mind that. Tried to cut down some of the, sometimes deck building can be a little bit slow. So I tried to jump cut to after I had made sets of decisions. But I think this deck kind of needed some work. So I think it's fun to kind of show that process every once in a while and how that works and um, how you can take one deck, and this doesn't share much in common with the original deck list, but we got from there to here, and I think here is pretty cool. So thank you for watching. Have a good night.